السلام عليكم أعزائي الطلبة. المحاضرة الخامسة Respiratory Physiology in the Respiratory Module. Objectives: Structure of the respiratory tree, functions of the respiratory passageways, trachea, bronchi, and bronchioles, control of airway smooth muscles, mucus coat and cilia of the respiratory passageway. Trachea and bronchi and bronchioles. Figure 37A shows the respiratory system demonstrating especially the respiratory passageways. The air is distributed to the lungs by the way of the trachea and the bronchi. مثل تشوفون respiratory system متكون من النوز، بعدين يجينا الابيجلوتس والجلوتس، وهنا راح يصير نتفرع الفارنكس والاسوفيجاس والجاي تراكت، وهنا يجينا الجلوتس واللارنكس والفوكال كوردز، وبعدين تجي التراكيا تنقسم إلى برونكاي later and right main bronchi، وبعدين تجي الفيرلر divisions. طبعا respiratory passages or passageways consist of the nose, pharynx, larynx, trachea, bronchioles, terminal bronchioles, respiratory bronchioles, alveolar ducts, إلى أن تنتهي بالalveolar sacs and alveoli. من بداية respiratory bronchioles including the alveolar ducts والalveolar sacs and alveoli هاي يسموها respiratory zone اللي يصير بها gas exchange بين الالveolus بين capillary pulmonary capillaries. Functions of the respiratory passages. Structure of the respiratory tree. بنقول upper respiratory tract راح يشمل nasal cavity, pharynx and associated structures. بنقول lower respiratory tract include larynx, trachea, bronchi, bronchioles and alveoli. During normal breathing, air enters and leaves the body through the nasal passages or mouth. During inspiration, breathing in, air is warm in the nasal passages and also takes up moisture humidification. The air then passes through the serous branching, dividing airways. These decreases in size are termed. طبعا تبدي التراكيا اللي هي أكبر شيء، بعدين برونكاي، bronchioles, terminal bronchioles. إلى حد نهاية التيرمينال bronchioles هاي يسموها conducting zone، بعدين تجي الريسبيراتوري زون، تبدي بالريسبيراتوري bronchioles, alveolar ducts, alveolar sacs. There are 23 divisions of the airways and 300 million alveoli in all average adults. The total surface area of the average adult's lung is about 70 square meters. The lungs are the principal organ of the respiratory system. They are the surface over which oxygen is absorbed and CO2 is excreted. During quiet breathing, air normally taken in through the nose, which is able to trap particles of dust, air dust and moisture and warm the air during its passage to the lungs. The trachea of an adult is about 2 cm in diameter and 12 cm in length. It is the first part of the respiratory tree. In upper chest, the trachea branches into two main bronchi. In turn, the bronchi branch to give rise to smaller branches on the left and the 3 branches on the right, corresponding to the lobes of the lung. The right lung has 3 lobes, while the left lung has 2 because of the heart position. Within each lobe, the bronchi divided more and more until we obtain what is called bronchioles, terminal bronchioles, respiratory bronchioles, and alveolar ducts, from which the gas exchange structure arise, which are the alveolar sacs, which consist of 2 or more alveoli. The trachea and pulmonary bronchi have C-shaped rings of cartilage, while the bronchioles have none. نشوف هنا هذا السلايد مر علينا قبل المحاضرات السابقة. الكوندكتنج زون تكون من التراكيا، bronchi left and right، بعدين bronchioles إلى نهاية terminal bronchioles، بعدين تجي عندنا respiratory bronchioles والalveolar ducts والalveolar sacs اللي هي يسموها respiratory zone. المجموع طبعا الديفيجنز هي تبدي ما بعد البشركة وتستمر إلى نهاية الalveolar sac. One of the most important challenges in the respiratory passageway is to keep them open and allow easy passage of air to and from the alveoli. To keep the trachea from collapsing, multiple cartilage rings extend about 5/6 of the way around the trachea. يعني معناها C-shaped cartilage تحيط بالتراكيا. هاي تمنع الكولابس وتمنع تبقي التراكيا vacant. In the walls of the bronchi, less extensive curved cartilage plates also maintain a reasonable amount of rigidity, yet allow sufficient motion for the lungs to expand and contract. These plates become progressively less extensive in the later generations of the bronchi are undone in the bronchioles, which usually have diameter less than 1.5 mm. The bronchioles are not prevented from collapsing by the rigidity of their walls. Instead, cartilage. Instead, they are kept expanded mainly by the same transpulmonary pressures that are that expand the alveoli. That is, the alveoli enlarge, the bronchioles also enlarge, but not as much. In summary, to keep these passageways directly downward open and prevent them from collapsing, multiple cartilage rings extend about 5 to 6 of the way around the trachea. In the wall of the bronchi, there is extensive cartilage plate present, which become progressively less expensive in the later subdivisions of the bronchi and are gone in the bronchioles, so they are expanded by the transpulmonary pressure. In all areas of the trachea and the bronchi not occupied by cartilage plates, the walls are composed mainly of smooth muscles. The wall of the bronchioles are almost entirely smooth muscles, with the exception of the respiratory bronchioles that have only few smooth muscle fibers. Many obstructive disease of the lung result from narrowing of the smaller bronchi and larger bronchioles, often because of excessive contraction of the smooth muscle itself. The chief site of airway resistance in the airway passages is at the medium-sized segmental bronchi, segments related to the lung, where the radius of the individual bronchi is decreased. The least resistance to airflow in the very small bronchioles and terminal bronchioles because of their large cross-sectional area. هي عددهم هواية يكون أقل resistance وليس لأنهم بسبب الدايمتر مالته، الدايمتر مالته آه، كلش صغير، لكنه بسبب السيرفيس area تكون resistance قليلة، بينما resistance تكون عالية جدا بالميديوم سايز سيجمنتال بروفايل لأن عددها قليل. Resistance to airflow in the bronchial tree under normal respiratory conditions, air flow through the respiratory passages to easily that less than 1 centimeter of water pressure gradient from the alveoli to the atmosphere is sufficient to cause enough airway to for quiet breathing. The greatest amount of resistance to airflow occurs not in the middle air passages of the terminal bronchioles, but in some of the larger bronchioles and the bronchi in the trachea. The reason for this high resistance is that there are relatively few of these larger bronchi in comparison with the approximately 65,000 parallel terminal bronchioles, through each of which only a minute amount of air has passed. Yet, in these conditions, the smaller bronchioles often play a far greater in determining airflow resistance because of their small size and because they are easily occluded by شنو اللي يسوي بالاوكلوجن بالسمولر airway bronchioles or smaller bronchioles in the muscle contraction of the airway, the smooth muscles, edema occurring in the walls, three mucus collecting in the lumen of the bronchioles. Nervous and local control of broncho muscle musculature اللي هي احنا قلنا انه مو كل divisions of the trachea بيها cartilage، قسم من الأناتومية cartilage اللي هي تكون larger divisions، بعدين تختفي وتصير تعويض مكانها smooth muscles. هاي smooth muscles تكون subjected to أو under control of nerve control, nerve stimulation اللي هو ينقسم إلى sympathetic and parasympathetic بالإضافة إلى local hormones control. بالنسبة للنيرف كنترول نجي أول شيء على السمباثيك effect اللي هو bronchodilation effect of the sympathetic nervous system. Direct control of the bronchiole by sympathetic nerve fibers is relatively weak because a few of these fibers penetrate to the central portion of the lung. However, the bronchial tree is very much exposed to norepinephrine and epinephrine released into the blood by sympathetic stimulation of the alveolar gland medulla. Both these hormones, especially epinephrine, because of its greater stimulation of beta adrenergic receptors cause dilation of the bronchial tube. إذا تأثير السمباثيك سيستم هو نوعا ما indirect لأنه النيرف فايبرز مو كلش واصلة للبرونكيولز، بينما التأثير يكون indirect عن طريق stimulation of adrenal glands to secrete epinephrine and now will tend to cause bronchial dilation. Parasympathetic constriction of the bronchioles. A few parasympathetic nerve fibers derived from the vagus nerve penetrate the parenchyma. These nerves secrete acetylcholine and when activated cause mild to moderate constriction of the bronchiole. When a disease process such as asthma has already caused some bronchial constriction, superimposed parasympathetic nervous stimulation often worsens the condition. When this occurs, administration of drugs that block the effects of acetylcholine, the atropine, can sometimes يلاقوا respiratory passages to relieve the obstruction. ممكن نستخدم atropine كعلاج لأنه يعاكس تأثير acetylcholine، وبهيج حالة راح نسوي block للإفكت مع parasympathetic constriction effect. Sometimes the parasympathetic nerves are also activated by reflexes that originate in the lungs. Most of these begin with irritation of the epithelial membrane of the respiratory passageways themselves, initiated by noxious gas, dust, cigarette smoke, or bronchial infection. Also, a bronchial constrictor reflex often occurs when the microemboli occlude small pulmonary arteries. إذا ممكن يصير activation للparasympathetic reflexes ويصير bronchoconstriction نتيجة للnoxious gas, dust, cigarette smoke, or bronchial infection أو microemboli. نرجع local circulatory factors often cause bronchial constriction. Several substances formed in the lungs are often quite active in causing bronchial constriction. Two of the most important of these are histamine and steroid-active substances of anaphylaxis. Both of these are released in the lung tissues by the mast cells during allergic reactions, especially those caused by pollen in the air. Therefore, they play a key role in causing of the airway obstruction that occurs in the allergic asthma اللي هو التحسس، يعني ربو تحسسي. That is especially true of the steroid-active substance of anaphylaxis. The same conditions that cause parasympathetic constrictive reflexes of the airways, smoke, dust, sulfur dioxide, and some of the acidic elements in the smoke often act directly on the lung tissues to initiate local nervous actions that cause obstructive constriction of the airways. نرجع على mucus lining of the respiratory passageways and the action of the cilia to clear the passageways. All the respiratory passages from the nose to the terminal bronchioles are kept moist by a layer of mucus that coats the entire surface. هنا راح يجي هذا الميوكس. The mucus is secreted partly by the individual mucus goblet cells in the epithelial lining of the passages and partly by small submucosal glands. In addition to keeping the surface moist, the mucus traps small particles out of the inspired air and keeps most of these from ever reaching the alveoli. إذن هو يقوم بوظيفة protective عن طريق entrapment of the air particles اللي هي الشوائب اللي موجودة بالهواء اللي مستنشقة تكون تلتصق بالميوكس. بعدين الميوكس itself is removed from the passages in the following manner. The entire surface of the respiratory passages, both in the nose and in the lower passages down as far as the terminal bronchioles, is lined with ciliated epithelium, with about 200 cilia on each epithelial cell. These cilia beat continually at a rate of 10 to 20 times per second, and the direction of their movement, the power stroke, always toward the pharynx. That is, the cilia in the lungs beat upward, where those in the nose beats downward. كلها تتجمع وين؟ بمنطقة الفارنكس. إذا كانت من النوز راح تنزل للفارنكس، وإذا كانت من اللنج راح تصعد للفارنكس. This continual beating causes the coat of the mucus to flow slowly at a velocity of few millimeters per minute toward the pharynx. Then the mucus and its entrapping particles are either swallowed or felt to the exterior. كلها تتجمع بعدين وين؟ بالفارنكس. وبعدين شلون يتخلص من هذا الفارنكس؟ يتخلص من اليمة عن طريق السنيزنج أو عن طريق الكف. شكرا لإصغائكم. هاي هي نهاية المحاضرة الخامسة.